Have you ever felt all down during rainy days? The grey and gloomy afternoons make you rethink your whole existence and conclude that you're not that happy with your life. And when you see that it's another dark, rainy day, do you just feel under the weather? For real though, do you know that there was a study where they called people on sunny and rainy days asking about their happiness, and the responses differed based on the weather? Apparently, people called on rainy days perceived their general happiness and life satisfaction as worse than people called on sunny days. So does it mean that we are doomed to feel doomed when it's rainy outside? Fortunately, not really. In the same study, it came out that the negative effect of rainy weather was way smaller when people acknowledged the weather, either by telling about it to the researcher or being told that the weather was supposed to be a factor influencing their mood. That's kind of a relief. But what if we amplified the effect of weather on our mood? What if that dark, gloomy day lasted for weeks, even months? Well, no need to wonder anymore, because today we're going to talk about Seasonal Affective Disorder, aka SAD. Get it? SAD, like sad? Because SAD is making you feel sad, and it's also an abbreviation of the disorder and... Fine, let's move over that lame joke. Before we get to the explanation of what SAD is, I wanna put here a little disclaimer. In this video, and probably many others, I'm going to talk about serious issues, like mental health problems and such. My style of teaching is to accompany difficult and complicated topics with jokes and memes, in order to make it easier to remember and more enjoyable to learn. So although I'm going to talk about it in a lightly manner, if you or someone from your environment is experiencing symptoms of mental health problems, such as depression for example, please make sure to consult that with a mental health specialist. Even if you just feel that it's not that serious yet, it's better to prevent than to treat. With that, let's go back to the topic. Seasonal affective disorder is a combination of biologic and mood disturbances, with a seasonal pattern, typically occurring in the fall and winter, with remission in the spring or summer. It's closely related to standard depression, but what is essential for it is its seasonality. That's why it's sometimes called seasonal depression as well. Hey, it's fall, do you know what is the time for? Colorful leaves photos, Halloween parties, pumpkin spice latte? Even better, seasonal depression. Seasonal affective disorder doesn't occur to everyone though. I mean, seasons like fall, winter, spring and summer don't look the same everywhere, and the length of the day as well. The prevalence of SAD approaches even 10% in northern latitudes. It tends to prevail in latitudes closer to the pole, as the closer you are to it, the shorter your day is during fall and winter. The sun just abandons you for the most of the day there. What's also important, the change between the daytime in winter and summer is greater than in places closer to equator. That encourages greater differences between moods depending on the season. So those living farthest from the equator in northern latitudes are most susceptible. As for some examples, in the United States, 1% of those who live in Florida and 9% who live in Alaska experience SAD. In Canada, 15% of the population experience winter blues and 2 to 6% experience SAD. In the United Kingdom, 20% experience winter blues and 2% experience SAD. So if you plan to move to a country like Canada or Greenland, you should probably be aware of that risk. By the way, why Greenland isn't green? That's like a big lie. Like with Turkey, where turkey sandwich isn't that popular there. Seasonal depression is also sexist. It prefers women to even this rate that it occurs 4 times more often in women than in men. The age is important as well though. Its favorite age of the prey is between 18 and 30. And for elder persons, SAD stops caring about gender that much, and it attacks elder men and women pretty much equally. So I guess that's an advantage to being old? Anyway, as we found out who's more susceptible to feeling blue for Christmas,
I'll have a blue Christmas.
Let's take a closer look at the symptoms of seasonal affective disorder. Okay, so seasonal affective disorder, or SAD, is not considered a unique diagnostic entity. I mean, it's more like a type of recurring major depression with a seasonal pattern, or as sometimes folks call it, seasonal depression. And that makes it kinda easier to explain what it is. Because it is depression, but seasonal. The criteria for it, as per DSM-5 for example, is having depression that begins and ends during a specific season every year and disappears during other seasons for at least 2 years, and having more seasons of depression than seasons without depression over a lifetime. Usually, those depression seasons occur in winter, but it doesn't mean they can happen in summer. Yep, all the others may enjoy sunny vacations when you're stuck with depression time. Yikes.
I got that summertime sadness.
There's also some important stuff to remember, so you don't confuse it with something else though. For example, sometimes the seasonality of the depression might come from psychosocial stressors that you associate with the season. So if you feel symptoms of seasonal depression in winter because that's when the exams are stressing you out the most, then maybe it's not sad. Maybe it's something else. Nevertheless, you should take care of that as well. Too much stress can be dangerous not only to your mind, but to your body as well. As for the symptoms for any depression, I think the awareness of them is increasing. However, please consider getting help if you've noticed in at least last 2 weeks a few symptoms from the list I'll provide you now. Depressed mood, so feeling emptiness, hopelessness. Sometimes it can be irritability, loss of interest or pleasure, when you feel like you're significantly less interested in what you've been doing so far, or when you feel that the things you used to enjoy don't bring you happiness anymore. Yes, that includes watching my videos. Any significant change in your weight. It might be loss or gain. It depends on whether the depression chooses to make you lose your appetite or try to fill the void in your heart with food. Of course, you need to check where the weight change comes from. I mean, if it's the result of your consciously chosen appropriate diet, it doesn't count. Any significant change regarding your sleep. It can be insomnia or hyperinsomnia. With these symptoms, you should notice that nearly every night you either can barely sleep or even not at all, or that you need to sleep additionally during the day. Of course, a little nap is nothing to worry about, or even when you have a longer one after a bad night or a very tiresome day. It's quite natural to feel sleepy then. However, if you can barely or not at all get up from your bed, where it disrupts your whole life, that's when the danger lies. Significant changes in psychomotor activities. So again, we have two extreme points. You can notice that your speech is slower, you move less and more slowly, and your thinking might feel like it's lagging. Like when you play on a computer, but the internet is so slow that it's barely possible. That's psychomotor retardation. On the other extreme point, we have psychomotor agitation. It's when you feel restless. Your thoughts are constantly spinning around in your head and you can't stop them. That anxiety and agitation then lead to unintentional and repetitive movements. It might be, for example, fidgeting, picking skin around nails, rapid speech, or even biting or ripping skin off your lips until they bleed. Another symptom is fatigue, loss of energy that you feel nearly every day, and the one related to your self-esteem, feeling worthless or excessive inappropriate guilt. Sometimes you might even feel that you're responsible for all the evil in the world. And let's face it, it's pretty much impossible. You don't have that much power or responsibility over it. Only I have. You can also experience decreased concentration. It might be correlated with indecisiveness. It might be something you notice yourself, or something that only people from your surroundings notice. And the last one, as thoughts. So recurring thoughts about disappearing from this world, ideation of it, or even creating a specific plan on how to do it. This is very dangerous and hard to deal with on your own. This is again the time when I need to highlight how important it is to take care of yourself. If you recognize such symptoms in yourself, please contact a psychology or psychiatry specialist regarding this. It might not be depression, it might be something else, or maybe some sub-depressed state. Nevertheless, it is better to have it treated than wait until it gets worse. For critical situations, you can also use hotlines for people struggling with strong episodes. They're easy to find through Google and they can be very useful. Remember also that sometimes you might notice such symptoms in a person that you know. They might need a friendly suggestion to contact a specialist then. Sometimes even an honest talk with them might be a lot and convince them to search for help. What is important is that avoiding the subject doesn't make it disappear. This includes episodes. I've mentioned SAD, but it's also important to keep in mind its relative, a milder form of SAD, that is subsyndromal Seasonal Affective Disorder. For friends, as SAD, and for music fans, winter blues. It might be milder in symptoms and less exhausting than SAD, but it's still a good idea to keep an eye on it in case it wants to turn into a full SAD. Now that we got to know our body's SAD a bit better, let's try to understand its causes and mechanisms better as well. And of course, there isn't just one simple explanation of it. Usually though, researchers try to explain it through chronobiological mechanisms related to circadian rhythms, melatonin and photoperiodism, major monoamine neurotransmitters, serotonin, norepinephrine and dopamine. Yeah, some scientific terms and content that I'll try to explain to you in a simpler and more enjoyable way. Let's go with phase shift hypothesis, probably the leading one. It suggests that SAD happens when our body's internal clock gets late compared to external clock. So like when your internal clock says it's the middle of the night and you should continue sleeping, while the clock on your phone for some strange reason claims that it's 7 AM already and you should get up to school or work. So this thing, but in a regular seasonal way. The way it works is that during the seasons, the length of the day varies, especially the farther you are from the equator. So if you're on the north side of the earth, during fall and winter the day is usually shorter and confuses internal clocks for some folks. Like remember how it is like then? You wake up at 7 AM because the alarm you set up on phone just rang. But you open your eyes and it's pitch dark around you. There's no sun, no indication other than the clock of course that it's morning, so your body thinks it's still night and wants to keep sleeping. I guess it won't work as an excuse for being late to school or work though. Okay, but how would the body react to this in a more biological way? So here comes another guest, melatonin. Melatonin is a hormone made by pineal gland, that little tiny organ near the center of your brain. It might be small, but you shouldn't mess up with it, otherwise it can mess up with your whole life. Melatonin is like a messenger that is sent when it gets dark. As it is interpreted as a signal that the night is coming, the coming darkness tells melatonin to inform your body that it's sleeping time. So melatonin takes that message and goes through your receptors to tell them a bedtime story. So what happens when SAD decides to visit you? Well, your internal clock tries to detect when to go to sleep based on the sunlight. And when it sees that early in the evening it's already dark outside, it decides that it's time to go to bed and tells melatonin to inform your whole body about it. In result, you get way too much melatonin and it affects your activity levels. This way, things related to your body preparing for sleeping, like body temperature, energy, sleepiness, and so on, get activated, and even though it's daytime and you have things to do, your body tries to convince you to go to sleep. Okay, so that explains the increased sleepiness and fatigue. But what about other symptoms? For that, we can explore another consequence of limited sunlight during those cold nights. When most of the day the darkness takes control over your surroundings, you have fewer opportunities to go outside and get some sunlight. And why does it matter? Because sunlight is crucial for producing vitamin D in your skin. And without exposing yourself to sunlight, you risk vitamin D deficiency. So if your mom tells you to go outside because it's a nice sunny weather, it might be a good idea to do so and get that sunlight. I mean, it's free vitamin D! But probably I should explain you why you should care about vitamin D, because otherwise you might not see the point of getting it. I mean, freebies are cool, but not everything for free is worth getting. Like getting free raisins. Getting raisins is never good. Never! Just stop adding them to cheesecake and then not even mention it! It's a crime! Anyway, Vitamin D is believed to play a role in serotonin and dopamine activity, the superhero duo. Dopamine is the superhero of motivation and pleasure. When you achieve something great or experience something rewarding, it appears to give you a boost of excitement and satisfaction. The second superhero, serotonin, is less flashy, but nevertheless important. It's the superhero of happiness and well-being. It makes sure that you're happy and feel good with yourself. Together they make sure you're happy and ready to achieve more, like Batman and Robin keeping your personal Gotham City of your well-being safe and sound. But when that superhero duo gets short of the supply of vitamin D, they have less power to protect your well-being city, and therefore SAD, the Joker in the story, can easily mess up with it. So deficiency of vitamin D results in deficiency of dopamine and serotonin, and therefore makes you feel depressed and worthless. Moreover, it is believed that those superheroes play a vital role in your appetite as well. When dopamine Batman and serotonin Robin are weakened by the deficiency of vitamin D, they still try to fight for good, but they need to take power from somewhere, right? So dopamine Batman reaches for highly palatable foods like fast foods and sweets to make sure you get your reward, while serotonin Robin supports him with overeating via effects on the satiety mechanism. And tada! It's an easy way to gain weight while combined with lower activity due to longer sleeping. And there you go, that's how SAD probably destroys your well-being. This seasonal depression guy hijacks your melatonin, dopamine and serotonin production via decreased sunlight exposure to make you miserable for half a year. That's a big crime, especially since that's the season for fun holidays. That's why we cannot allow it to keep happening. So, if you want to fight that villain, please share this video with others and let me know if you want me to tell you how we can fight this Joker. Also, very important, remember to take care of your mental health and visit a psychology specialist when you suspect that depression might be creeping behind you. After all, you're the most important superhero when it comes to protecting your well-being city. Wow, SAD can really mess up with you. So it's better to avoid sadness and stick with joy, right? Wrong! All emotions are important and they all have their important roles. If you don't remember that, you should watch my video on the purpose of emotions. And yes, sometimes it's better for you to be sad than full of joy. Don't believe me? Well, then wait for my next video where I'll show you when sadness is the good guy and joy is the bad guy. Until then, you can watch Upside Down to see another context of sadness importance. Till then, have a nice day!